Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
This is the Stockton Gurdwara, the oldest Gurdwara in the United States. This building right here was the first structure that was built in 1915. When the Sangat expanded in 1929, they officially started establishing that building, and it was constructed in 1930. They had a huge divan in January 1930. They celebrated with the broader community, American community as well. And now this one was then this one was turned into a residential area for those Sikh immigrants, Punjabi immigrants, broader, because there's also Hindus and Muslims who are working here. And it was just a residence for them. So and for those seasonal workers would be able to stay here.
Hanji. And so we can just, if you just would like to show us a bit of the inside, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and then in recent years, our goal is to turn this into a proper museum. We're in conversations with the local museum and the state museums, as well at the federal level, to get more resources to ensure we can tell a proper story of the history of Sikh immigrants in the United States.
And this building here, the building that's next door to us here, was in 1929. When was this building used? Which year? Do you know around which year?
This one was in 1915.
1915.
Yeah, this right here, you can see the plaque from the city of Stockton when it was designated as a historic landmark. The 1915 and 1929 highlights the two buildings.
Hanji, ठीक है.
I'm like the class.
Yeah.
So as most people may be aware, Stockton Gurdwara is referred to as home of the Gadri Babe. This was one of the only Gurdwaras in North America, and the only one in the United States that was established when the Gadar Lehar started. The founding fathers of the Gurdwara, Baba Jwala Singh, Baba Vasaka Singh, were also key members of the Gadar party. And people know that San Francisco is a headquarters and know of Stockton Gurdwara as a headquarters. But there's also another third location, that was Baba Jwala Singh and Baba Vasaka Singh's farm, known as the Holt Farm or as Payanda Dera as well. So these three locations were very significant because Stockton Gurdwara was the broad kind of institution for the broader Sangat, whereas the San Francisco headquarters was the educational kind of institution where this printing press right here that you see behind me, this is the original Gadar printing press. From this printing press, they would print Gadar Di Gunj, Gadar Shamsher Khalsa, and all the revolutionary literature that came from the Gadar movement. Pratap Singh Sarabha himself worked on this Gadar press. So again, this one was originally in San Francisco. That was the hub because again, the access to the ports, access to universities out there. So that was crucial in that sense. Whereas Payanda Dera, Baba Jwala Singh, Baba Vasaka Singh's farm, that was more of the secret training grounds for the Gadar movement. And then as we move along on this side, we also have a very old safe that belonged to the Gurdwara. We recently came across this and officially started displaying it when we had the centennial celebration. So as mentioned earlier, those Gadri Babe that were significant to not only Stockton Gurdwara, we have Baba Jwala Singh, Baba Vasaka Singh, but also the first president, Baba Son Singh Pakhna, who also gave that importance to Stockton Gurdwara, even though they themselves were from the Pacific Northwest region. They understood that there was a huge community here in the Central Valley in Stockton area. And we have more portraits of the Gadri Babe. It's just our little chance to honor them and the sacrifices that they made for the Sikh community. And then as we continue over here, we have some of the publications that were mentioned. Gadar Di Gunj, Gadar, it was printed in Gurmukhi, Urdu, Hindi, and also English as well. So they had multiple publications that came out of the printing press that we saw earlier. And then again, this is the headquarters that I mentioned earlier in San Francisco.
They're working
And
Sikh workers on the
as mentioned earlier, like some of the Sikh workers who would come stay in this building, Sikh workers working on the Pacific and Eastern Railroad. And over here, you know, we have again more pictures of the Gurdwara Ashram, the headquarters, and then this artificial arm of Baba Harnam Singh Tundilat. You know, the story goes that it was blown off while he was working on making a bomb, and that happened at Payanda Dera, the farm that I mentioned, Baba Sakha Singh, Baba Jawala Singh's farm. That's where the incident took place. And then Stockton Gurdwara is also very significant because it housed many individuals who are significant, not just to Sikh history, but also broader American history. For example, right here we have just a quick dedication to Dalip Singh Sand, who was the first Asian American in U.S. Congress. And he was, again, a Sikh American. He was also supported by Stockton Gurdwara when he came to study at UC Berkeley. He stayed at the house that was owned by Stockton Gurdwara for students. And he was staying there rent-free. And then later on, he became the secretary of Stockton Gurdwara before he ran for Congress. And then over here we see some of the older pictures of the Gurdwara. As you saw the building, the structure from the outside, this is the 1915 structure when it was first established. Again, this building used to be a double story, but now it's only a single story. But again, if you could just imagine this being cut in half, it's a very similar structure. They remained, the integrity remained intact.
Wow.
And another part of the history that a lot of people aren't familiar with, when we look at the 1960s right here, you'll notice people are sitting on kursiyan inside the main Darbar hall. There was a change that came as immigration acts became more, as immigration acts didn't allow individuals to come from Asia. You know, the connection between Punjab really broke. So that concept of Sikhi broke for them. And for them, they turned the Gurdwara into a church style because they started marrying Mexicans and white women. So for them, the main idea was, how do we have satkar for religion? And again, they took it as a Christian lens, which again, you can also see that sir nange bhi hai,
even on the
right?
stage,
Stage te bhi sir nange hai. Because again, if you look at the church style, or topiyan la ke andar jande hai, right? And so actually, Guru Ghar de baad, there used to be a hat rack as well. Te fir jive, again, you can see kursiyan back ke fir they again, for them, satkar was still there in their minds. They actually elevated the Guru Granth Sahib as it's almost touching the roof now too. Here's another more clear picture, you know, from that time period as well. And then
1600, a lot of nuggets. So this was very common in Canada back then in the day as well. Wow. Similar story, yes.
Okay.
Hanji.
Yeah, there's a lot of shared similarities between the BC Sangat and Stockton Gurdwara as well. They were constantly exchanging letters as well.
Hanji.
You know, the official name, you might be familiar with Stockton Gurdwara, is actually Pacific Coast Khalsa Diwan Society.
But it's Khalsa Diwan Society in Canada,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, BC, so it shares that same name, so the same lineage. And then as you can see from right here, this is the structure that the main hall right now, which was started in 1929, but officially established in 1930. As you can tell, the standing on stairs, right now those stairs are indoor. So for when it was first established, the stairs were outside. And then over here we see a photo from 1979. They started to build a little covering over it. And that's when in the 1980s they officially made that covering over the stairs as well. And that became indoors then.
And was there anything else for us besides that? Or
I think when speaking about the history of Stockton Gurdwara, these are the, I mean, we can also speak to this. There were many foreign dignitaries who would come as well. This is Nehru's sister who would come, because again, Stockton Gurdwara, even for those in Punjab, those in British occupied India, and even after that, after partition in India, a lot of people still recognize Stockton Gurdwara as the leading institution for Sikhs in the United States. So we have that, and then also when that the war between India and China, again in 1962, even then Sikhs were donating money